cyborg.
Show yourself. And you are?
I am IF Prototype LQ84I.
IF Prototype.
Interface Prototype. All autonomous UGs feature high-level onboard artificial intelligence. An additional prototype interface enables verbal communication. I possess an intellect far beyond human reckoning.
You don't say. Okay then, what's the meaning of life? Why are we here?
I am here to kill you.
That's it? Pretty simple thinking for such a mighty intellect.
I may analyze orders, but I may not disobey them. Should I disobey a direct order, my memory would be wiped. I must destroy you.
What good is an intellect if you can't use it?
Your taunting is pointless. Exterminate! Combination complete.
That thing's fast.
Yes, faster than you, I suspect. In terms of pure speed, at least. But it cannot run circles around you forever. It needs to attack if it wishes to win.
Yeah, and that's probably my best shot.
Duh. Don't bother chasing. Let it come to you. If you can parry its blows, you'll have a chance to counterattack. Watch its movement, and wait for the right moment to parry.
Textbook battle tactics. Got it.
Remember, you can parry even while taking damage. Do not give up just because you are hit.
That thing's fast.
Yeah, but it can...
Yeah.
Duh. If you can watch it, remember...
I've seen a lot of weird stuff, but this takes the cake.
Well, I'm glad you're entertained. Too bad you're missing all the fun. It's a real party down here.
Sorry, buddy. My specialty's cultural studies, not combat scenarios. If you're looking for my help in a brawl, you must be getting pretty desperate.
Good point.
Besides, if you've got time to screw around on the codec, can't be all that bad, right?
We'll see. Okay, back to the party.
I've seen a lot of weird...
Well, I'm too bad you're missing all the fun. It's a real party.
Sorry, if you're... Besides...
We'll see.
Everything okay, Raiden?
Yeah, it's a fascinating foe, but I'm not gonna cut it any slack. We're dealing with terrorists here. And AI or not, it's still aiding and abetting them.
Yeah. Be careful, though. You might want to save your data first. Okay, all set. Good luck.
Most fascinating foe, and such natural speech. I've never heard of a UG capable of conversing of its own free will.
Yeah. Maybe we can just talk this through. Any weaknesses come to mind? Something I can exploit?
No particular weak points come immediately to mind.
It's fast as hell, and it's flinging knives at me from a distance.
Indeed, I'm not sure your body can match its speed. And if you can't dodge the knives, then your best bet is to deflect them. Try entering blade mode.
I'll give it a try.
Fast.
Yeah, any weak...
No,
It's fast.
Indeed, and if you can't dodge, then try entering blade.
I'll give it a try.
You will die. You will die. Multiple strikes. I feel no pain. A savvy warrior uses all of his tools. Backup required. Both here only to fight again.
Get off!
I'll still kick your ass! Even you are merely human in the end. You will die. Is this all? Use your intellect, evade my blows. Combination complete. I will obliterate your consciousness. Does it hurt?
What's wrong? Answer me! Raiden! Raiden!
Use your intellect, evade my blows. Does it hurt?
This cannot be! Raiden, what happened? You are supposed to be stronger than this!
Combination complete. I will obliterate your consciousness. Disappointing. Use your intellect, evade my blows. You will die.
Hey, what's wrong? Answer me! Raiden! Raiden!
You will die. You will die. Combination complete.
Hey, what's wrong? Answer me! Raiden!
I will obliterate.
Raiden!
You will die. Does it hurt? I will obliterate your consciousness. Disappointed. You will die. Does it hurt?
This cannot be! Raiden, what happened? You are supposed to be stronger than this!
You will die. Combination complete.
Raiden, what's wrong? Come on, buddy, answer me! Raiden? Raiden!
I will obliterate your consciousness. Combination complete. You will die. Combination attack.
What? Raiden? No! No!
I will obliterate your consciousness. Disappointed. You will die. Is this all? I will obliterate your consciousness. Disappointing. Use your intellect, evade my blows. Is this all? You will die. Disappointed. You will die. Use your intellect, evade my blows. Is this all?
What's wrong? Answer me! Raiden!
Multiple strikes.
Raiden!
I will obliterate your consciousness. Does it hurt? Use your intellect, evade my blows. Disappointed. You will die. I will obliterate your consciousness. Combination complete. Superficial damage. Use your intellect, evade my blows. Combination attack. You will die. You will die.
What? Raiden? No! No! Raiden!
Now then, let's run a basic battle diagnostic. Try and neutralize all the enemies that appear. String light and strong hits together to perform combination attacks. Combat is not all offense, however. You also need to protect yourself. First, follow the direction of the enemy's attack. Parry those attacks by executing light attacks of your own in the same direction. This is how you parry. It is the keystone of your defense. Draw foes.
Combination complete. I will obliterate your consciousness. Is this all? You will die. Does it hurt?
What happened? What is going on? Raiden, answer me! Raiden!
Multiple strikes. You will die. Disappointing. You will die. Combination complete. Uses all of his tools. Backup required. Is this all that humankind is capable of? Even you are merely human. I will obliterate your consciousness. Does it hurt? Use your intellect, evade my blows. Evade my blows. Multiple strikes. To continue alone would be foolish. Help me. I'll be going to fight again. Use your intellect. Evade my blows. Is this all?
Hey, what's wrong? Answer me! Raiden! Raiden!
You will die. Multiple strikes. I will obliterate your consciousness. Disappointing.
What happened? What is going on? Raiden, answer me! Raiden! Damn it!
Use your intellect. Evade my blows. Does it hurt? You will die. Multiple strikes. I will obliterate your consciousness. Impressive. A savvy warrior uses all of his tools. Backup required. this all the humankind is capable of?
Get off!
I will exterminate your consciousness. You will die. Is this all? Combination attack. Use your intellect, evade my blows. I will obliterate your consciousness. Does it hurt? You will die. Combination complete. You will die. Use your intellect, evade my blows. Is this all? You will die. Continue alone. Foolish. Help me. Are we both here only to fight again? Strikes. Use your intellect, evade my blows. You will die. Cannot continue. Directive, liberate nation. Ensure freedom. Obey directive. must obey directives. No freedom. Freedom on device.
What would an AI know about freedom?
What's wrong? Answer me! Raiden! Raiden! Enemy sighted! cannot be. Raiden, what happened? You're supposed to be stronger than this.
The Hammerhead missiles have an inertia fuse. Cut them before they stop and they will not detonate. And if it's too late to run, try blade mode. The Hammerhead will try to damage or your own...
I kinda doubt they'd just leave him lying around for us.
Well, you never know with these types, Raiden. They can be careless. And you won't know if you don't look, huh?
Sounds like Imani was a pretty great leader. Such a goddamn waste.
I've run cover for a lot of VIPs, but men like him are a rare breed. He had all these conflicting factors to deal with. Old tribal tensions, business interests, the military. But Imani got them all working together in a stable government, and all without firing a shot.
The savior of a nation. No wonder they called him that.
He had a gift for sure, but he also put in the hard work. He was big on equality and justice in every aspect of government. He fought for it day in, day out. Imani single-handedly energized his people. He's a big part of why the country recovered so quickly.
True. It was more than new buildings and jobs. The people had hope again.
If only we had someone like him back in Liberia. Things would have been different, that's for sure. And it was my job to protect him.
Raiden, come on.
Imani wouldn't want me to go after Desperado. Not out of revenge, anyway. But he would want them stopped. And that's exactly what I'm going to do.
Hammerheads have a nasty habit of firing all their missiles at once when they are about to go down.
UGs have habits?
Of course. They run on optical neural AIs. They can learn behavior the same as you or me.
And since all units in a UG line are trained in the same way with the same capabilities...
They develop similar fighting habits, yes.
Alright, so what do I do once it starts unloading all those missiles?
Ninja run. Use the projectiles as stepping stones to close the distance between you and the Hammerhead.
must aid civilians, Raiden. It is not part of mission, but Maverick is still one of the good guys, yeah?
That civvy needs your help. Hurry, Raiden.
Come on, save him! He's gonna get killed!
Doc, my fuel cells are sapped out, but I'm still able to function?
Function, yes, but no longer able to perform any action that would require a sizable amount of energy. But even when your gauge reaches 0, you retain basic movement. You can walk around and swing your sword. Use this time to absorb more electrolytes from your enemies. Recharge your cells as soon as possible.
Roger that.
You gotta be pretty stupid to try.
You'll save my life. Thank you.
The enemy's got vehicles using that route. It's too far on foot and too heavily guarded. Stick with the plan and make your way through the old city.
Most impressive, Raiden.
Yeah. Gonna have to do a lot more than float around like that to beat me.
Indeed, indeed. So, now you are in Sukumi Old Town. Pretty much still the same as after war in 1990s.
Looks like it.
Make your way through town. You'll need to pass through an abandoned hotel to reach the hill. The hotel is serving as headquarters for cyborg forces patrolling the new city.
Sounds like a blast. And why exactly am I walking right into enemy HQ?
Well, it's not a stealth mission, eh? Striking them will weaken their entire forces. Besides, we don't want them stabbing you in the back.
All right. At least I'll get to top off my electrolytes.
This is the spirit. Trust me, it is easier than knocking on refinery front gate.
Right. That saying you like about your sword being a tool of justice?
Yeah, it's why I fight. Sometimes taking a life saves others.
A life, or 2, or 3, or 40 in your case, but I know what you mean. Besides, it's not like those cyborgs you're fighting have been brain-jacked.
Wouldn't be much point in sending jacked cyborgs.
True. Having someone pilot a body remotely only really makes financial sense for espionage missions. And you might as well use UGs if you're gonna let an AI control your soldiers. So yeah, they're probably using emotional restraints, but those cyborgs are fighting of their own free will.
Starting to see where I'm coming from?
I get it, it's just... you didn't used to seem so comfortable with the idea. What about what Sam said? About your ideals holding you back?
Ah, bullshit. He's good, but now I know how he moves, how he thinks, and I've got my new body. My philosophy says when and why to fight, not how. It won't keep me from beating Sam. And next time we meet, I will beat him. I'll kill him, and I'll do it to save others from suffering, with my ideals intact.
All right, Raiden.
A most fascinating opponent, wouldn't you say?
What did you make of it, Doc?
Well, everything it said seems feasible enough. It's true all UGs feature high-level AI these days. Given enough time to adapt and learn, a neural AI could certainly become able to comprehend speech. Then, with the right interface, speech and conversation will be possible.
But what about it having actual intelligence? John Searle disproved the viability of the Turing test back in 1980. In other words, just because something talks like a person doesn't mean it's really thinking. It could just be following some program designed to make it seem as intelligent as possible.
I'm impressed. You seem quite knowledgeable in this field.
I had a pretty memorable chat with an AI once, about 10 years ago. After that, I did a little reading.
Ah, yes, of course. The Patriot AI. I heard of this.
Was it actually intelligent, or just programmed to pretend? I'm still not sure.
I suppose it depends on how one defines intelligence. For example, many term chess-playing AIs and such as having sectional intelligence. Some in the field believe that sentience or self-consciousness is a necessary part of the definition. When you ask if this UG had intelligence, I suspect this is more your criteria?
Yeah, of course. Then you could ask, how do you define sentience exactly? And on and on and on.
Indeed. These terms can indicate a wide variety of meanings depending on one's understanding. Perhaps it is less important to ask if the AI was intelligent or not than to ask how did the AI operate. After all, labels are useful only when they further pursuit of the truth. And that, as you well know, is the goal of all science.
Sure, Doc. Thanks. I guess.
So that's where they're holed up.
Some kind of electronic lock on the gate.
Most likely it opens only if you have the right ID data stored in your left hand. Perhaps you could find a cyborg with access and borrow it?
You see any cyborgs around here, Doc?
Why not double back? Check the vehicle route again. You know, back at the entrance to the old city. Who knows? Maybe you can hitch a ride. Most likely, platoon commanders carry correct ID data for the gate. Use enhanced mode to figure out who to hit.
So I get past the gate and into the hotel. Then what?
This road ends at the hotel. Enter and you should be able to reach a hill from the roof. That hotel was used by the Nomenklatura, high-ranking Communist Party bureaucrats. All destroyed now, of course, but in Soviet days, full of luxury. Anyway, you should be able to reach a hill from hotel roof. There are more Soviet ruins past that hill. Get through there and you will reach the rear of the refinery.
Head for the hotel roof. Got it.
Enemy sighted!
These rifles Desperado's using. Mac 200s, right? Same as Maverick's standard issue. Nice weapon. Not that any gun is much use against a cyborg.
The 200 is a thing of beauty. We were one of the first to adopt them 3 years ago. It has minimal muzzle flash and report when firing, and little recoil. Plus, the ejection port near the muzzle makes it good in both left and right hand. Rare for bullpup rifle. Easy maintenance, tough enough to take some dirt without jamming every shot, and it takes standard NATO magazine, so you can find ammo on almost any mission, anywhere in the world.
Sounds like somebody's in love.
Well, it reminds me of the good old days. Most Soviet gear was trash, yes, but the rifles... the rifles. The best in the world. And it seems I'm not the only one to appreciate them.
Apparently not. I see Macs everywhere these days.
They've spread all over the world, and so quickly. Still, I am sad to see Desperado using them against us.
Well, not much we can do about it now.
Such an elegant weapon, waved around Stado pri Turkav. Što vi stoji?
Okay, Boris, okay. Just calm down.
Hurry and get that hand right. Bravo! Excellent work. There was classified data embedded in that hand. It appears that man underwent modification at the Patriot facility, just as you did.
Didn't you say you'd been here before, Boris?
Once, back when it was still Soviet territory.
Seems like it'd be a lovely place, if it weren't a war zone.
The Pearl of the Black Sea, they called it, back when more Russians lived there. It was a very popular resort spot for the USSR. This is before the wall fell, of course. Then Russia and Georgia began to fight over the area.
Kicking off the war in the early 90s.
Georgia was a Soviet republic. Abkhazia, a semi-autonomous state within it. The Soviets like to stoke ethnic rivalries between the two. And not just there, in all the outlying territories. It kept them easier to control.
But with the Russians no longer watching over the two.
The Abkhaz were scared. They knew an independent Georgia would swallow their nation sooner or later. So they took advantage of a Georgian military coup to declare their own independence in '92. Of course, the new Georgian government was not happy to hear this, and so...
The same old story.
And with Russia supporting the Abkhaz, it was a stalemate. 2 years later, the ceasefire meant Abkhazia was finally independent, but not officially. They still are not formally recognized by Georgia, or most of the international community.
This region is filled with breakaway states.
This is true. There is South Ossetia, also in Georgia. Transnistria in East Moldova, and Nagorno-Karabakh, which broke from Azerbaijan. In any case, even Russia did not officially recognize Abkhazia as independent until 2008. So it was not long ago Sukhumi was a war zone. It has changed dramatically since then. They have been rebuilding steadily, with Russian support, ever since SOP was shut down.
Good to hear. But doesn't that leave them wrapped around Russia's little finger?
It does. Which is why Dolzaev is calling for a truly independent state. He wants an Abkhazia that takes orders from no one. Not Georgia, not Moscow.
Sounds like a worthy cause.
Duh. But many Abkhaz are happy with the reconstruction Russian support makes possible. Few of his fellow countrymen were interested in what Dolzaev had to say. At first.
And then Desperado showed up.
Exactly. They brought the sad ending to this little history lesson. It is no wonder so many people mistrust PMCs, eh?
I suppose not.
Doctor, about my pain threshold. It doesn't hurt exactly, but I can still feel it. It's not painful, but it's still pain. It's hard to explain.
Well, your nervous system is still fully intact, of course. It would be dangerous for you to be entirely unaware of your body taking damage. Instead, your nerves are controlled such that pain is no longer so unpleasant.
How do you mean?
Take epinephrine, for example, or adrenaline, as you might know it. This hormone makes it harder to feel pain, yes? Your implants work using a similar method. Yet, for all we now understand of the nature of pain, much of it remains a mystery.
How so?
Well, why do we feel pain? Evolutionarily speaking, of course, to signal external injury or internal sickness. If the body is threatened, pain notifies the brain so it can take steps to ensure survival. In other words, pain has a clear and logical purpose. But in certain cases, pain can drive more unconstructive behavior. In situations where fight and flight are both still options, one might simply break down crying or drop to the ground and begin writhing about. This would appear only to diminish one's chance of survival, not increase it, yes?
Maybe there's some other factor at play.
Well, the most common theory would link pain with the societal nature of humanity. If no friends are close by, then experiencing pain might indeed reduce your likelihood of survival. But if allies are near, these expressions of pain serve as a plea for help. Thus, you are more likely to live. Fear of pain might also discourage one from entering a dangerous situation in the first place. Whatever the reasons, the data clearly shows that survival rates rise directly with sensitivity to pain. The converse is also proven. Those less able to feel or express pain have a lesser chance of survival. So, mankind has evolved as a social animal, and in the process, pain has become more pronounced, more visceral.
A little pain never hurt anyone, huh? But if pain is there to ensure survival, well, what's that say about the future for us cyborgs?
As a transhumanist, I do not believe all evolution must follow the exact method Darwin posited. Cyborg technology is still survival of the fittest, after all. Just in a new form. You should be proud of what your body has become. It is the culmination of great achievements in science.
Me? I had nothing to do with it. The credit's all yours.
Well, yes. I should be proud as well.
To get to the plant, first make your way to the hotel roof.
Boris, do we have anything else on Dolzaev? Any more on his background?
Very little confirmed intel, but it seems he is a former Chechen insurgent. He claims he was part of the Chechen National Congress when they declared independence in '91. This was just after the famous coup attempt in Moscow in August. Things were not stable. Gorbachev lost his political power. It was Yeltsin who signed the Belavesia Accords.
Right. It created the Commonwealth of Independent States. All republics that made up the USSR became independent.
The problem is, Chechnya was never a true republic. It was an autonomous state, but still part of the Russian Republic.
Like how Abkhazia was an autonomous state within the Georgian Republic.
Duh. The same kind of sad story. Russia does not recognize Chechnya as independent. They send troops and the fighting begins. It is said 250,000 Chechens were killed over the 2 wars that followed. 1/4 the entire population. The Chechens were forced to give in, and the war officially ended.
But the rebels kept on fighting.
Insurgents fled into Caucasus Mountains, formed several factions. They waged guerrilla war on Russia ever since. We think Dolzaev is the leader of just such a rebel group.
Sounds like Russia bears some of the blame for radicalizing him and his men.
I love my homeland, but she is not perfect. What nation is? Just remember, this could all be smoke. We cannot even confirm Dolzaev is truly ethnic Chechen.
Say he is, though. What would he be after here in Abkhazia?
Some Chechen militants volunteered to fight for the Abkhaz in their war in the early 90s. But when Russia recognized Abkhazia to keep Georgia in check, they also began funding recovery.
Which the Dolzaev crowd see as a play to gain influence. But wasn't the Chechen recovery funded by Russia?
Duh. And many rebels believe this is why their people gave up on independence. Perhaps this is exactly why Dolzaev is here, to alert the people before it can happen again. But if the Abkhaz people are not interested in fighting, his plan could backfire.
So in a way, it's Russian policy that brought him here. He thinks he's fighting to make these people free.
Whatever his motives, no one elected him and no one gave him a permit for murder. Now that he is allied with Desperado, he is too dangerous to ignore.
Dolzaev. That woman.
Raiden, what's happening? Your heart rate spiked.
Yeah, I just dodged a bullet. All right, I'm heading for the refinery. Boris, I got a visual on Dolzaev and Mistral. Looked like they were arguing over something. Mistral's heading up the force at the refinery, correct? We're sure on that?
Yes, but I'm not sure how good a commander she is. As a fighter, talented, yes, I know, but
Well, neither one looked very happy. Maybe she'll withdraw.
Oh, I doubt that. She may not like him, but she will follow her orders. She is just the leader on the ground here, I think. Someone else is calling the shots behind cover.
All right. But what's the end game here? Say I die and we can't stop them. Then what? Are they even capable of forming a real government? Do they think the people here would support Dolzaev?
Good questions, Tovarich. History shows it is a much easier thing to take a government than to keep it. An unpopular regime can only ignore the will of the people for so long before they rise up. And trying to do all this with PMC soldiers? Difficult. And very, very expensive.
Someone else must be bankrolling this for their own reasons. Someone with very deep pockets. Who stands to benefit the most from all this?
Most likely someone with an interest in that refinery. The plant has pipelines connecting with Sochi in Russia and Supsa in Georgia. Crude oil from the Caspian Sea is refined in Sukhumi and then sent on to Russia.
Oil. I wonder if Dolzaev knows he's being used. Then again, I wonder if he'd even care.
What do you think Dolzaev and that woman were discussing? Even your ears could not catch it, huh?
No. Even enhanced hearing doesn't help when it's too far for sound vibrations to travel.
A pity they were outdoors. We could have deployed laser surveillance unit if they were inside, near window.
Yeah, maybe if conditions were perfect. I'd have to be lined up just right to get the beam directly in front of the glass. And there's the problem of noise, too.
Duh, true enough.
Anyway, not much point talking about it now. Better I just head over there and wrap this up.
Of course, of course. I only wonder because I have no idea what Dolzaev is thinking. The more intel we have, the better.
Relax, Boris. Once I take out Mistral, the rest will be easy.
Let us hope so.
Boris, any idea where they're getting the money to fund this operation? Assembling this many cyborgs can't come cheap. Not to mention getting them all here.
There are two questions we have about the money. Is Dolzaev paying Desperado out of his own pocket?
And if not, then who is?
Duh. We do not know size of Dolzaev's war chest, only that he has some funding. Insurgent does not always mean the dirt-poor guerrilla with the hunting rifle and homemade bomb. Some rebel groups are very well funded. In Arab oil nations, for instance.
Right. They have benefactors who share the same ideology.
There is also a chance some other party is backing Desperado directly, creating conflict for their own reasons, like the Patriots used to. Many groups stand to profit from wars, yes? Not just PMCs. Arms maker, contractor. Perhaps it is this kind of corporation behind him.
The oil interests alone could make billions here.
Duh. Already this violence so near the Abkhazia-Sochi pipeline is affecting markets. An interruption in the pipeline would shift the balance of power between the world's oil giants. Whether it's Dolzaev's goal or no, many groups stand to gain a lot of money from this mess.
Raiden, the Mistral woman. Is she truly a full-body cyborg?
That's what the intel says, at least. Why? You notice something?
Indeed. Two somethings, in fact. Based on their movements, her chest region did not appear to be artificial.
You can tell that just from what I saw?
Indeed. After some detailed image analysis, I am 80% certain that is her own natural torso. If it is indeed a cyborg chassis, it is the most advanced I've ever seen. Such technology would not come cheap. It would mean whoever is backing Desperado is likely quite wealthy.
Probably so. As far as Mistral goes, it really doesn't matter to me. Natural, synthetic, man, woman, an enemy is an enemy.
Ah, are you not even the least bit curious?
Doctor, about my fuel cells, the electrolytes. Do all military cyborgs use the same type? I'm not gonna run across anyone, you know, incompatible with me, am I?
An excellent question. Your fuel cells, like any other, operate much in the same way as a typical battery. They do not need replacing after a single use, of course, and they do not require recharging. They do, however, require a fuel source.
That much I know already.
Yes, that. There are several different types of fuel cells. Phosphoric acid, MCFC, molten carbonate like yours, solid oxide, and so forth. Each type can be further divided into classes, each which runs on its own electrolyte material. However, all current military cyborg MCFCs run on the same one electrolyte.
That's good news.
Why all the same electrolyte, you ask? The answer lies in the catalysts that help make up your carbon nanotube musculature. It was breakthroughs in researching these catalysts and CNT manufacturing that enabled large-scale production.
Breakthroughs that happened after all the data the Patriots were covering up finally leaked.
It could not have happened without your help, Raiden. Science owes you a great debt. And I do as well. Working on your body has been quite educational.
You get all that, Kev? The woman with Dozayev. That's Mistral?
Yep, the only female member of the Winds of Destruction. The name is from a cold, dry regional wind in France that blows from the Alps down to the Mediterranean.
She French?
Yep. Born in Algeria, though. It was a French colony until they declared independence in the early 60s. Haha, but you already knew that.
Yeah. They were the last French colony in Africa.
You know your history. Plenty of French colonial families still live there. Pied Noir, they're called.
I've heard the term. The main character in that Camus novel, The Stranger, was one.
You also find a lot of Algerians who've immigrated to France, although they put a stop to that a while ago.
Yeah. A lot of European countries seem to be clamping down on immigration lately.
Mistral joined the Foreign Legion to get her citizenship.
A woman legionnaire?
And not the first. There was one that served in the North Africa campaign during World War II. Anyway, Mistral's been doing PMC work ever since her Legion discharge. We're not sure why she went cyborg. She's officially leading the force at the refinery, but she is also a combatant. Don't have anything on her combat style, but do not underestimate her. The Winds of Destruction are trained killers, all of them. They didn't let her in because of her looks.
I don't need a reminder. I won't let my guard down.
Yeah, but, speaking of her looks, she's got, well, I mean, a couple of, huge... Look, just don't get distracted, okay?
Sounds like you should take your own advice there, Kev.
Raiden, you need to save?
Did you catch all that? With Dozayev and Mistral?
Yeah, I was monitoring the whole time. Dolzayev's not really what I expected. I've seen his file, plenty of photos, but I guess I expected someone more, I don't know, threatening?
Didn't seem too friendly to me.
No, I mean, you hear terrorist, you think of some cold, calculating professional. Dolzayev looks more like some guy off the street.
Cold, calculating professional types don't usually bother with terrorism. It's too risky. Most terrorists are ordinary people, radicalized one way or another.
Yeah, I guess so.
Of course, that doesn't make what they do any easier to forgive. What about Mistral? What'd you think?
Well, she's certainly attractive. Probably an artificial face, though. I'm guessing most of her is artificial.
Roger that.
We intercepted call for backup during your last fight. The caller's position is on your Soliton radar. You can engage if you wish. It is your choice. Up above you! The cliff is just ahead at the end of the old city. Beyond that is the refinery's backyard.
So what? It's a sheer drop? The refinery's not connected to the city at all?
No, it was only built 2 years ago. There should be a narrow path around there that leads to the plant. It is protected by a fence, but probably you can cut your way through.
Probably.
Don't get cocky. Most likely it is Desperado running security down there. back of the refinery. I see a door there, but it probably has an alarm. Can you use the ventilation duct?
You mean that huge fan?
Just cut off the blades as it spins. Easy, yes? Raiden, I've been thinking. What Sundowner said. How peace in Africa was a problem for him. Do you remember?
Yeah. Doesn't sound like somebody fighting for an anti-Inmani faction, does it? The Prime Minister definitely had his detractors. Anyone in that position would. But he listened to them, treated them fairly. There was no real injustice for the opposition to rally around, so the rival factions never got that popular or that well-funded. There's no way they could afford all this.
But it does not make sense for Desperado to be acting alone here either. Even if they trigger full-blown war, there is no guarantee they would get the contract. Perhaps this is about natural resources? The last civil war was over precious metals.
You think big business hired Desperado to shake things up?
Who can say? At least it has not grown into a real civil war. Yet.
We need to figure out who's at the root of all this if we're gonna end it.
But knowing is only half the battle. It is the other half that will get you killed.
Well, no matter what, this mission has a nice side benefit. Putting a dent in Desperado will screw whoever's backing them, too.
Our focus is to help the Abkhaz people. But if we hurt those responsible for this on the way, well, so be it. Watch out! They keep on coming! Dolceev and his team must be in here. Find him. Raiden, wait. There are active IR sensors in the area. Part of factory security, no doubt, but the enemy may be using it.
hiding spot. Wonder where he learned that from.
Who actually owns this plant?
On the books, a private Abkhaz firm. In reality, the Russian state.
So all the money goes right back to Russia?
It does provide Abkhazia with fuel and electricity, but yes, it was clearly built for Russian interests.
How do you mean?
The Caspian Sea is a major source of gas and oil, but these days most of it never passes through Russia. Not since the Baku-Tbilisi-Ceyhan pipeline was built. With it, the oil flows straight to Europe.
But that pipeline runs straight through Georgia. Why did the Georgian government allow it?
Money, of course, and power. Having a major pipeline run through your land brings plenty of both. The South Ossetia War taught Georgia they could not always rely on the West for support. They began working more with their neighbors in the region to build their own power base.
So Georgia stands to gain from this coup?
It would seem this way. Any scenario that ends with the refinery no longer under Russian control is good for Georgia. Even if they do not retake Abkhazia outright, they benefit if new regime is more friendly to Georgia. Perhaps this is Dolzaev's idea, to attract Abkhaz political leaders with a pro-Georgia agenda.
And that's why Georgia isn't taking action?
I very much doubt Georgian government would be involved in anything so obvious and so reckless. There must be someone else behind all this.
And Dolzaev's just playing along? Why would he?
Revenge, Tovarich. Anything to hurt Russia. Perhaps money as well, who knows?
Yeah, the Russians can't be happy about all this. Let me guess. They contacted you through the FSB, right?
There were conversations, yes. But it was the Abkhaz government that enlisted us. We only took this mission because we knew it would help the people there. Besides, we cannot leave Desperado unchecked. Not after what happened.
Right. I won't let them profit from this mess. And we need to learn who's backing them.
And the first step to do this is take back that refinery.
So Mistral's from Algeria. Have you ever been?
No. You?
Once, for a consulting job. Pretty short trip, though.
I hear it's pretty safe there now, compared to how things were at the start of this decade.
Yeah, I was able to slip a little sightseeing in. Pretty nice spot for a vacation. Kind of hot, though. 80% of it's the Saharan desert, and wow, it was just like you'd imagine. So much sand. You could easily imagine camel caravans trekking beneath the early evening moon. It was like something from another world.
Yeah? I thought only a sixth of the Sahara was sandy like that. The French carried out a bunch of nuclear tests there too, I remember.
But once you reach the Mediterranean coast, it's a totally different place. All these white-walled buildings framed against intense blue sea. It's a really stark contrast.
Were you in Algiers? I know that the capital looks a lot like that.
Yep. The local cuisine's totally French-influenced. I'll never forget this one lunch near my hotel. A baguette sandwich and a café au lait. Simple and simply unforgettable. Oh, there were a bunch of sweet shops in town too. High-quality European candy, but so cheap.
Sounds like you ate your way across the country.
Well, food's an important part of local culture, you know. Oh, and speaking of which, the seafood. I didn't expect to see Mediterranean fish in African cuisine, but it was also fresh and flavorful. They'd fry up small fish whole, then drizzle them with lemon juice. I could have eaten that all day.
Sounds like a lot of calories.
I tried to stay active, you know.
Hey, did you know my visual analyzers can tell me how much someone weighs?
Yeah, I'll have to talk with Doc about disabling that one.